welcome to your Tuesday edition of Lovin Daily. I'm your host Chris Pergine, joined today by Benjamin Abela. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So as you know, today's edition is sponsored by SMS Mondial, who are doing a great, offering a great service, this Blue cruise, which is a cruise around the Mediterranean Sea without any stops except a technical stop in Sicily. For Maltese residents only, the crew is going to be quarantining. This is going to be like a really safe way of traveling. It's between 29th August and 2nd September. So check out smsmondial.com.mt for more information and book your holiday now. I'm just going to go through the headlines of today and then we'll start discussing the stories. So, Maltese cult leader's daughter exposes the inner workings of Jesus the Saviour community. WhatsApp terms contradict Adrian Delia's claims on his chats with murder suspect Jorgen Fenech. Promising signs of a COVID-19 cure after a vaccine triggers immune response in patients. Malta has received its biggest ever allocation of EU funds in the post-COVID stimulus package. And from COVID unemployment to vegan sushi success, a new eatery in Malta is already getting rave reviews. We'll talk a bit about that later. So Ben, talk to us about this Maltese cult. What the hell's going on?
It's quite a crazy story. An ex-member of this cult spoke to Lovin Malta. She also happens to be, she's 19 years old. She also happens to be the daughter of the leader of this cult. It's a pretty sad story to see what it took for her to get out of this cult. Her mother unfortunately got sick, and the cult had it against seeking medical help. So her mother's care was delayed a lot. At which point the daughter thought it was ridiculous that her sick mother shouldn't get help. Eventually, her mother actually did go to the hospital. She did get help, but her father, her parents, eventually got separated as a result of this. It's quite an isolated community, as well as you can imagine. Pop culture is practically non-existent within this community. The daughter Amy spoke to us about how pop songs were not permitted at the community. Hosier's "Take Me to Church" in particular, and Rag & Bowman's "I'm Only Human." Their excuse was because they're more than human; they're saints. So yes, it's pretty much a different reality. And since then, we've had a number of people speak up to Lovin Malta about the possibility of other cults on our island. So it seems like a developing story.
Yeah, it must be said that the church has officially disassociated itself from this group. This is a group that you might remember from the divorce referendum. By the way, the cult was not allowed to vote.
Yeah.
The divorce referendum, they were an anti-divorce movement that were saying that they shouldn't even participate in this referendum.
The Cristo Iva divorciole, the leader was heading it.
Was heading that. So yeah, and a lot of people are now reaching out to us about similar stories that they've experienced. Obviously, Malta is a very Catholic country, and on the fringes of mainstream Christianity, you also have a lot of these groups that may be a bit too extreme in their ways. We'll move on to the second story. It's about the opposition leader, embattled PN leader Adrian Delia, who has claimed that chats on WhatsApp have disappeared for him with relation to his chats with Jorgen Fenech, the prime suspect in the murder of Daphne Caruana Galizia. Basically, WhatsApp terms don't actually allow for this. It cannot really be that these chats disappeared. We had a story yesterday explaining and examining how things can get deleted from WhatsApp. You might know that if you delete a message, it could delete on the other person's phone as well if it happens within the hour of you sending that message. But to have a whole thread vanishing unless you delete it yourself purposely is quite unlikely. In fact, David Take, a nationalist MP, has shown on Facebook that his own chats with Jorgen Fenech remain there, even though Delia's claim that Jürgen Fenech might have deleted the chats himself. That's not the case. It cannot happen. So yeah, this is like I think it's worth remembering what these chats were about. So Adrian Delia has always said that he had not met Jürgen Fenech after the revelations of 17 Black. He never really showed any evidence to support that, except to say that he would have known and he wouldn't have engaged with Fenech after these sort of corruption claims were made. However, the messages published by the Sunday Times show Adrian Delia accepting an invite to lunch by Jürgen Fenech, actually telling his aide, saying that he'll tell his aide to set it up. Delia has sometimes said this is that this was this was his way of politely declining the invitation. Sometimes he's saying that these messages don't exist. Sometimes he's saying they were deleted. Sometimes, so it's quite confused. But ultimately, WhatsApp does not permit these sort of chats to just vanish into thin air. What would you make of this story, Ben?
I mean, at a time where everyone is so tech savvy, I think it's pretty dangerous to make such a claim, to say that a message on probably one of the biggest communication platforms out there just vanished,
Yeah, it's so easy to kind of be proven wrong.
Exactly.
Exactly. Was proven wrong. So move on to the third story.
So the COVID-19 cure seems to be in the works. This is all happening in Oxford University in the UK. There isn't much information about it just yet, but Health Minister Chris Fearn had said that as soon as a vaccine is made available to Europe, Malta and Gozo will be among the first to take this vaccine on. Only yesterday Malta was at 4 active cases, with Malta seeing 1 new case yesterday and 2 recoveries. So I think we are on the right road. We are on the right track. What do you think?
Let's hope this vaccine comes in. I mean, again, Malta seems to be enjoying a very different experience of COVID to a lot of the rest of the world. However, obviously, we still have the economic realities to deal with, especially as tourism has been reopened, but there doesn't seem to be a global appetite for travel, at least compared to what it used to be. On that note, move on to the next story. Malta has received its biggest ever allocation of EU funds as part as well of the post-COVID stimulus package. So the EU yesterday agreed on a deal, quite a big deal of 1.8 trillion euro, and from that Malta is going to be getting 2.25 billion, and this is divided between 1.92 billion euros, that is part of the 7-year allocation of EU funds, and an extra 327 million that is specifically related to the COVID stimulus package. So yeah, Malta, as all countries, every 7 years they negotiate a new deal. This will take us to 2027. And anyone who's benefited from EU funds knows that this is a really important part of the process. So I guess well done Malta for negotiating a decent package. We still need to see, I think there are still a lot of questions. It still needs to be analysed how good this package is, how much of it is actual direct cash, how much of it is loans, and what we had to give up, if anything, to get this amount. We had a former nationalist MEP candidate, Peter Ajus, yesterday say or question whether this means that we have to introduce any taxes to our financial services industry. So we'll be following that story today and analysing a bit more these EU funds. Check out lovinwater.com for more information.
And a sweet and inspiring story to round off today's episode, from COVID-19 unemployment to vegan sushi success. A Romanian-Ukrainian couple living in Malta saw themselves get unemployed during COVID-19, as did many people. However, they didn't let this obstacle stop them. Rather, they used this extra time they had to make their dream of opening a vegan sushi store a reality, and their dream seems to be working out perfectly for them. I mean, their average rating on a rating website is around 5 stars, if I'm not mistaken. So Yes, I think they're living their best life.
Yeah, and it's important. I think in the scheme of everything that's happening, you know, there's a lot of people losing their jobs. There's a lot of industries really struggling. We'll be writing about the English language schools today, which are struggling particularly as well. And it's good to see some people rising from these COVID ashes to do something good. Also, what's really nice is every order that is made with these green sushi guys, €1 gets donated to plant trees. So apparently they've already planted over 100 trees, and they plan to plant 1,000 trees altogether. So it's a nice, sweet story. We also had another story. I don't know if you saw this, Ben, which was an old menu from the 1970s or 80s, which shows like how different the prices were.
Yes,
There was
yes.
one thing that caught my eye was a T-bone steak for one lira 50 cents, you know, which is a long way away from what it's like today. So bit of nostalgia over there for anyone who remembers these sort of prices and these vintage menus. I just want to round up today's episode with a reminder about SMS Mondial Cruises, the company that's sponsoring today's episode. They're promoting a really interesting, safe holiday, a blue cruise around the Mediterranean. The crew is going to be quarantining themselves beforehand. There aren't going to be any stops. This is Maltese residents only. So it's a really good way of taking a break and having some fun without having to worry about COVID. The cruise will take place from the 29th of August to the 2nd September, and for all the details and to book, just go to smsmondial.com.mt and check it out from there. That's all we've got for you for today. Thank you, Ben. I've been Chris Pergine, and this is Lovin Daily. Have a day full of lovin'.